Painting with Menoth John is presented in Superlegitivision. Superlegitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all you've got to do is practice, and practice makes perfect, and I got to make sure I got enough levels on this thing, because, you know, if people can't hear the dulcet tones of myself, and you know him, you love him, he's up in the catbird seat as usual. He is the one and only, the wind beneath my wings, Mr. John Spencer.
Hey-o!
Hey.
What's up, guys?
You know, John, this camera that I've got is supposed to figure out where the fuck my face is. But I think the fact I have no facial hair has got it so confused today, it can't follow my head. So
Oh, yeah, it has no idea what it's doing right now. It just goes where it wants.
It's like it's declared it's an autonomous zone. You know, John, God damn it. I said before the show I wasn't going to talk politics, and what's the first thing I bring up? The Seattle Autonomous Zone. I don't think that's talking about politics, though. It's more or less talking about geography.
Actually, I would say it's greater than politics. It's transcended politics, because now we're talking about social issues, which really should transcend politics all the time.
You know what, John? That is an excellent point. And I'm going to give you 54 Menoth John reward points for that excellent point right there. Remember, kids, that if you want your Menoth John reward points, you need to turn to your Menoth John Brushhead Survival Guide and check in Appendix B for Form 1432, not 1437, as so many of you have sent in. 1432 or 1435, which is a substitute for 2 if you've already sent in 7. And then you can get your reward points that you've been awarded over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the best fans in the universe, and we have 8 of them here, maybe 9, you can't tell, and they're here in the chat room. And for those of you who are not watching me right now, why aren't you in the chat room right now? Why are you not watching us? Because clearly, maybe you're watching this in post production, John. Maybe they're watching us on the what do they call them? The tubes, the YouTubes, right?
The tubes on the interwebs.
I understand them YouTubes. They're probably going to catch on eventually.
Yeah, they might catch on a little bit.
Yeah, so they might get. I mean, if Google ever decides to do anything that's been successful, I mean, whatever. And you should tune in. We're here on Wednesday nights, mostly. I mean, last week we weren't, but this week we are, and next week we might be.
It was an important reason we weren't last week.
Yes. It was the anniversary of me getting older. I turned 52, and I decided that I should shave my face, but I did that today, so that's like a 1-week delay thing, so it's like a time constant. And yeah. Anyway, so it was a day. I gotta be honest with you. I had a better weekend than I had a birthday. We celebrated.
Well, it can all be great, but as long as you're having a good time in general, right?
Oh God, you know, shit, John. I got my health. I got a successful podcast in my own mind. I've got good friends. And there's no question about that. And you know, and I got in a little shot glass here that has a picture of a little bird on it that says "Just a swallow." See, huh?
To your face.
50s fucking humor, bitches. It's not even racist. And inside of there is some Screwball whiskey.
Oh shit!
Screwball, it's peanut butter flavored, you know. It's like shoving a peanut in your mouth. Right here. See, I said peanut. Shoving a
Peanut.
in your
I,
mouth.
I have peanuts. They're right over here. Hold on, let's see.
Oh my God.
They're circus peanuts.
Oh, that's not a peanut. That's an abomination. Oh, he put it in his mouth. Well, so much for recycling it. Oh, okay. Now it's just turned into an episode of what was that show where they used to eat fucked up shit? God, they made him do all. He's got a mouthful of peanuts. See, I said peanuts. Yeah, there you go. It's important to it is peanut. Anyway, so there used to be a show, Truth or Dare. It wasn't Truth or Dare. I don't know what the hell it was called. Dark.
I was
Dare.
going to say Good Mythical Morning because that's the one where they eat all the fucked up food in my mind.
Oh, well, that's true. On the interwebs, that's true. There was a show, Fear Factor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fear Factor. Where they, oh my God, the stuff they used to make. F that. There's no money in the. There's no money in the universe you could pay me for that nonsense.
I'm funny that you got from circus peanuts to Fear Factor because I love circus peanuts.
Well, you know what? And you know what? I'm not going to criticize. John, if you enjoy putting a peanut of the circus variety in your mouth, then go with it. Go with it.
Sometimes I want concentrated sugar in a very spongy form.
Boom.
None of those hard motherfuckers, though. If they're too hard, like I check them in the store. Yeah, squish them a little bit. If they're too hard, you're like, no, fuck those things. Leave those on the shelf.
Okay. Nevendar, if you could help us with the Swedish word for peanut, I will make sure that I use that as much as possible. And I promise you, if it has any of those fucked up letters in it that y'all got in your language, just don't even. Anyway, yeah, that's what I thought. Your note. All right.
Is that your nut?
Well, it's got an umlaut, so your note, I think.
Your nut? Okay, I'll try. I'll
You know-
forget about half the strength over here.
Yeah, this is the next few episodes of Painting with Menoth John are going to be entitled "John Grows His Fucking Beard Back," because this isn't working for me. I look too much like my brother. Ugh. Anyway, hey, so I'm drinking Screwball. What the hell are you drinking?
I have some Kraken whiskey mixed with Barks root beer.
Oh, Kraken. See, now that's vanilla on vanilla for.
And a little bit of bite with a little bit of bite, so it all mixes together, so you get that bite.
I feel like this is an episode of How to Drink that should happen. So that fucking channel.
Oh my!
Amazing.
He amuses me.
Oh my God, he's great. I love that. And he puts together some very interesting cocktails.
And geek cred. He has legitimate geek cred.
Yeah, on his secondary channel, he plays D&D and he makes drinks out of 40K stuff. And no, he's great. I'd like to know where he lives because I'd like to buy him a drink.
Jersey,
you say?
I think if I remember correctly, he's in Jersey.
Oh goddamn! He doesn't sound like he's from Jersey.
He mentioned it in one episode. Yeah, you know, my boss, also named John, would get into that a lot. He is big on accents and where people are from based on their accent. Mm-hmm. He couldn't tell where I was from because I don't really have much of an accent.
Yeah. There you
Probably
go.
from watching all those movies.
Yeah, there you go. So all I basically have left on this project is glue an owl to an arm. What could possibly go wrong? You could glue the owl to your arm.
I mean, Nevendar, this is 2020. Don't ask that, because 2020's answer is hold my beer.
Oh, no shit. Speaking of hold my beer, here's to 2020 turning a corner.
It's right.
Let's figure it out. I mean, come on, 2020. We believe in you. Hey, Ron.
Ron. Man, the worst days of 2020 be in our rearview mirror.
Amen. That's positive. That's what this podcast was. That's the house this podcast was built on. Is positivity.
Absolutely.
It was also built on rock and roll. No, that's.
We built the city on rock and roll. The city.
If you would not sing anymore, that would be absolutely magical. Anyway, so there you go.
Oh, and Luchador hasn't heard me sing because no one's heard me sing because it's very generous to call that singing.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, we're still working on this damn hooch hauler. It's like a bad penny.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I am super glad to be finishing up models. I got one Marvel Crisis Protocol guy to finish, and he's mostly done. Let's show that off a little bit here.
Ah, the Star-Lord.
Yeah. He's definitely coming along. It's just some details and stuff. It's I'm pleased. Someone actually sort of like dissed them on their official Facebook channel and wondered why he got that post deleted. Well, don't be rude. Anyways, about how their detail's shallow, but I haven't found that at all. I've actually found some of it's a little shallow, but that's like, costume symbols and stuff. Like the lines on Vision, who's complete over here, they're a little shallow, but they're more of costume symbols. I've painted them so that you can see where they are. But that way, if you don't want to paint the exact costume, you can do something else because it's shallow and it won't show up so much.
So someone was complaining on the
On the Book of
Mass
Faces.
Games, on the local face.
On the Facebook, on the Marvel Crisis Protocol group that they run on.
Okay. Well, I mean, was he being a dick or was he just offering criticism?
I think he was being a dick.
Oh.
It got deleted. I mean, don't be a dick. Wheaton's rule should be in effect.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oh hell, I don't have any paper towel. Hey, John, vamp for a second while I leave camera to go get some paper towel. I'll be right back.
Vamp for a second. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys totally unimportant stuff. I've been playing a lot of MechWarrior Online. I do mean a lot, and I am no longer terrible at the game. I'm actually pretty decent. And as a matter of fact, I just reached tier 4, which is the second tier you can reach. It goes from 5 all the way up to 1 last night. I was very proud of myself for doing that. I wasn't sure I was going to make it because I have some shit games. But I'm enjoying the crap out of it. I hope you guys are enjoying something similar, something you can do to keep your mind off COVID-19 during this crazy time. Whatever it is, I hope you're enjoying it. And Legionnaires, yeah, man, let me know when you get that wireless keyboard and you jump into MechWarrior Online. We'll pop you in a group. At least you'll know you'll have someone who can, back you up when you say, we need to go here and do the thing, or, hey, this thing's killing me, someone save my ass. Because there's nothing like it. And occasionally you get groups like that, guys who are talkative, guys who listen to what you're saying. Actually goes into one of the topics I have for tonight, John. Yeah, I know, you're crazy. I brought topics.
No, that's great. I mean, you always have a good thing to say about movies. Why do you got a topic? What's your topic du jour?
So it's actually about online gaming etiquette.
Excellent.
So last Saturday I think it was, I played a game of MechWarrior Online. We jump in, and I always say hi to everyone, see if they're talkative or not. It lets me know how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not talkative, I find people and I support them. I become the team player. I don't expect anything from them. I just try to support what they're doing.
Got it.
If they're talkative, then we make plans. So someone in the chat, because you can type chat as well as talk, said, what's the plan? I'm like, well, when we land, we should find a place to meet up and then move around as a murder ball or split into slightly smaller groups to face the enemy. To which someone responded, he was like, I don't know you.
Well, okay.
To which I'm like, indeed. It's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, well, we could all run around and do our own thing, but it never ends well. So my point is, you are playing a team game online. The point should not be that you do not know this individual who is making up the barest bare bones of a plan.
Nope.
You should go either, yes, that sounds good, let's do the thing, or I don't want to do that thing, I counter with this other thing we could all do.
Yeah.
It should really be your options.
Not,
I don't know you and I'm not going to do the thing because I don't know you.
Or here's an option. I don't know you. Yeah. Sounds like a cool plan. I'm glad I met you.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know why it was. I don't know what it was. We ended up actually doing a pretty good job that one. There was more talk to people jumped on and started, and even that guy who was saying whatever was helpful. But it just struck me as odd. Like, why do you come in and do that? This is a team game. We're all teaming playing. John, could you imagine in Crossout? I don't know if they have comms in Crossout. I assume they might.
They do. Almost nobody uses them, but it is like if Rich and Dan and I are playing, we're on Discord together.
Oh, of course. I mean, I suggested actually when I'm playing with Gonzo and Banyan and El Guapo, we are on a Discord talking there, in addition to talking to the people in there. We'll do both.
Okay.
Because in the game, it's all push to talk. In Discord, I don't have push to talk on because I'm a podcaster. I know this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the point is, you should be more open to that. You should be. I mean, maybe he was drunk, possibly, but you're thinking what you're doing. You're playing an online game. It's all about teamwork, and you should be trying to do the teamwork. I know sometimes you need a personal achievement to do something that you want to do, and I understand that. But tell people, be like, hey, I'm really trying to get this 500 match score,
Yep.
which is hard to do. Like, all right, dude, well, then you're going to be the focal point. We will keep up people off you. I will happily soften up every enemy on the board for you to murder because that's the kind of team player I am.
Yep.
And that is why it took me so long to get to tier 4 because I have a lot of games where I don't necessarily do a lot of the things myself, but I'm always there supporting people. I am the last one out of the danger zone to make sure that people are moving, you know?
Yep.
Last night we had a game where there's a dire wolf, a 100-ton mech, not listening to us. We're like, hey man, we're moving to this area. You know, El Guapo moves out in his 100-ton mech. Me and Baney understand there because we're faster, and he's not moving. And I hated in my heart leaving him there to die.
Yep.
But you got to do what you got to do. But
Yep.
try and be a team player, you know.
Yep.
And after you're done, you can. I don't know how similar. I think Crossout's pretty similar. Can you spectate other people after you die?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that. So we'll do that, and we'll be in the comms, and we'll give them little tips. Like I've seen guys from like, hey man, after you get out of this game, you need to adjust your mouse sensitivity because you're all over the place. If you get it down a little bit, you'll actually be aiming spot on. You know, I'll do little stuff like that. Or, hey, stop shooting that guy. You're not hitting him. You know, because he can't see. He's firing missiles long range.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of helpful stuff like that. I'm a team player.
Oh yeah. I mean, I cross out. If I've died, what I'll do is I'll like take one of my teammates, like Rich or Dan, and I'll sit there and while they're playing, I'll be moving my camera around to spot for them. Hey, you got something coming in on the left. Watch yourself. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll do that because we're not paying attention to what they're paying attention to. They're shooting the guy. I'm looking at their mini map and whatever. I'll do that. It's super cool. I like it. I'm so far into team playing, John, that I have a mech that's based around team playing.
There you go.
I have lighter weapons because I have 4 anti-missile systems, so I shoot down the missiles.
Yeah, you're basically Iron Halo at that point.
I just, whenever my thing goes, incoming missiles, and I'm like, son, you done fucked up.
Yep.
You get incoming missiles on me all day long.
When I was running
and the last
a minigun build, it's essentially it's almost like the same thing. It's basically the miniguns just throw up so much shrapnel that I can sit there and I can just anti-missile system anything that's coming in.
Well, luckily ours doesn't require any active import to me. I just put them on the mech, supply them with ammunition and or heat, and go do the thing, and they do the thing.
That's cool.
But I literally I put that mech up. It's got long range weapons, so I can because I'm slow. I try and get up there, and I just support people. I don't ever expect to kill anyone with that mech. I have, but it's not my expectation. My expectation is to take damage for people, shoot down all the missiles, and throw some pot shots to help keep guys off of them.
I expect you to die, Mr. Bond.
And I'm happy to do it. And it every once in a while I die a little inside when people just aren't working together. There are people who try, and God bless them. But sometimes people don't. So I guess the end of this little topic is if you're playing an online game with randos, try to help the randos. Try to be a team player,
That's right.
even if they're not. Now, sometimes you got that guy who's hell-bent on, yeet or be yeeten,
Yep.
and you got to let him die.
Yep.
But go help the other guys.
Yep. Sounds legit, man.
Yeah.
So, folks, we haven't had a real topic in a long time.
Not our style anymore.
It's been busy, to say the least. Haven't had as much time to really put into the planning part of the show. Not that this was ever a show that really prided itself on planning, but it many times it had a purpose. I guess one thing we could talk a little bit about, John, is you're finishing up your Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I'm working on my last War Machine model, and you sent me an interesting picture before the show of a Privateer Press Riot Quest model, the Croc guy.
Yep, Captain Crawtooth.
Yep, and it made me kind of think to myself, what's the next thing we're gonna paint? Because I'm getting done with my War Machine and Hordes, and I've got lots of Monpok I could paint, but I will tell you that I paint things that I play, and it's I'm not playing War Machine and Hordes right now, which is probably why this stupid model is taking forever and a day to paint. Is just I find other things to do with my time.
I am with you. There's a couple days where like, okay, I have to do hobby streak. I have to do something hobby related. And it feels a little bit like a chore until I start doing it. Then you're like, oh, I'm painting. I get into it. It's all good. But sometimes you're like, I just want to load up MechWarrior Online and, floor out some mechs and blow some people up and stompy stomp.
Yep.
Or I just want to pick up that book and read it or something. But I keep going because we're not playing anything. And that's the hardest part about COVID right now is just because, I mean, Banyan and I might play a game of something, but we're not big sticklers for painting by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep.
And without anything really actively enticing us, it's kind of tough to keep the motivations.
It's a little bit off topic here, but we've never really been one to stick to topics for more than 15, 16 seconds at a time. There's a group here we talked about War Table. They're going to have a tournament. They're going to have a War Machine and Hordes tournament using War Table. And
That's really cool.
That is really cool. It's almost like like the old slow grow leagues where you would have you'd add to it, but it's not a slow grow. That's not the point. It's that you've got a certain number of days to get your game in, and that's really cool. I think that's fun. I might take part in that next time around. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean, we're hoping things are on the up and up. I know we haven't really seen the second wave yet.
Yeah, that's true.
No matter what people think, we haven't really seen the second wave yet. But I'm hoping we've done enough in certain states, in our state at least, that things are looking very good.
That's good.
I did actually get to sit down and have lunch with a lot of the crew Saturday. It was great. It was the best medicine.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's getting a little.
We sat outside because it was nice, but I'm not quite ready to sit inside because I don't blame people. They're eating. You take your mask off to eat, and they get up and get a drink. They don't think of putting their mask back on as they're walking by everyone. And I don't know you. I don't know what you've been doing, and I have a lot of people I work with in person that I need to be careful for.
Yep.
So, but it's all good that things hopefully starting to get a little normal. Though I think you canceling September's John Con in person might have been a very precognitive thing.
Yeah, it just, when we were sitting there, John, and I was kind of going through whether or not to go with it. I think it became pretty clear that we weren't going to be on a trajectory where this was going to go away, and we're going to do something online. I just need to get off my dead. So, I bought that house for Chuck's mom, and that has really consumed me. Getting her set up into the place, but she moves in for reals permanently in here at the end of the month. So that all should start leveling out here pretty quick. So I can start thinking about running the virtual stuff. But we're gonna run we'll do some RPGing and some things like that, and we'll broadcast it, and hopefully we can make a little bit of money. We're not. I'm not thinking we're gonna make a lot, but we'll make some.
Well, we'll see. We might be able to do multiple role-playing groups, potentially. There's a chance maybe someone might run a second role-playing game.
Oh, would it be a fellow who was on his podcast with me right now?
It may be that person.
Well, that would be fantastic.
I am thinking about it. I have. We actually had a talk on my other podcast about online role-playing, and it gave me some ideas of what kind of game to play, something simple and easy.
Very cool.
And there's a bunch of those that I love, and they're usually pretty easy to handle online, and they're pretty easy to teach. So we will see.
Excellent. No, that's great, John. I would absolutely welcome that and appreciate it. I think that would work out just fantastic.
There's the potential, if things were going well enough, and there's not really a huge hope that it would. We may even follow up the next day with a live potential streaming of The Adventures of Sewer Bear or something like that. We'll have to see how that goes, though.
That would be amazing.
Because I know the Creekins is looking forward to playing some more Sewer Bear, though it'll be weird because I think she's going to do it at her new house she just bought.
Ah.
With her giant dog. Dame is a Great Dane, and she's beautiful, and she's huge. Because she's a Great Dane.
Great Danes do not come in small.
They do not. They come in small for horses.
Yes, true. They would classify as a pony, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I could see small children riding it. Like,
I've witnessed it.
I look at Dame, and I'm like, halfling riding dogs. Not quite as silly as I thought originally.
When I was growing up, the kids across the street had an Irish Wolfhound, and they literally would ride it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Oh,
even imagine what picking up the poop from that dog was like.
I mean, shovels exist.
Yeah, so do bobcats.
I mean, it shouldn't quite be there. It's not quite an elephant.
True. But anyhow,
All
so
right, so actually, Legionnaires has dropped a question on us.
hey, that's good.
He wants to know, was there a game you were excited about pre-COVID that you can't make yourself start painting at the moment? He said for him, it's Star Wars Legion.
Honestly, before the COVID hit, most of my energy was in KeyForge, and that requires exceptionally small amounts of painting since it is a card game. The honestly, what John was pointing at was the Riot Quest. There was a lot of guys in my local meta that were trying to get me to pick up Riot Quest, but I was like, dude, it's still like an hour one way to get to this game store because y'all moved. So it's hard for me to justify getting up here all the time. And I just didn't have the money or the heart to get into it.
Yeah, there's a point where even our extensive disposal income clashes with the reality of I'm never gonna get to play this much.
Yep. I mean, I look at all the Monpok I don't play with.
I mean, I look at Shadespire, Warhammer Underworld Shadespire, and Nightvault, of which I've played one of them 3 times, the other one not at all. I think about I see Blackstone Fortress that I've played like 3 times with my set.
Yep.
And I don't not upset about those purchases at all, but it's like I could have used. There's more efficient uses of the money. But as for Legionnaires' question, mine is Star Wars Legion. We were really just starting to get going again with Star Wars Legion. I was hyped. We were going to do a campaign, and COVID came up, and off the top ropes, the elbow dropped our campaign right in the center, and it got tapped out. And now what are we going to do? We'll try again next time. But I am interested in painting Legion. I do love Legion. It is one of the, in my opinion, better games. But it's really hard, It's like Armada, There's some new ships for Armada. I'm like, man, I really like those new ships. But I'm not actively playing Armada. I think buying ships for that would be a mistake. Especially because the one I need is like $75. It's very, very cool.
It's also $75.
For $75, I got Commander Jetfire, that giant plane that's 15 inches long and 14 inches wide and shit, sitting over on my dresser on a new cool flight sim I found online for him. But it's hard. There's a bunch of stuff you want to do, but anything in person sort of got kicked in the face.
Yep. And I mean, I just, with all the expenses that are currently going on in my life, I can't. I gotta pick my spot.
John, I took a day off a week from work unpaid because I realized suddenly my expenses, since I'm not going to the game store every, once or twice a week, had gone down drastically.
Well, that's good.
I spent too much money on random game shit, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Because it's not like I've run out of models by any stretch. I've had to buy a handful of paints. So this might help me come out with more discipline for stuff. I haven't bought any Transformers TCG because Bane and I are not playing right now because he was waiting for the new set and he's not really feeling anything in person games. We've been playing a lot of MechWarrior Online together. He's playing a lot of WoW. He got in with another group, so it's hard. You gotta do what you can. You move in with one of your best buds. You're like, yeah, we're gonna play games whenever, and then you realize you're not gonna play games whenever.
Yep. No, that's fair.
But it's okay. Legion says he's excited for X-Wing 2.0, watching all the games on YouTube. He said they're playing on tabletop sooner or later. I like X-Wing. I think X-Wing is an awesome, awesome game for casual, but it is... I don't know. It's weird, It never quite plays out exactly as I want it to. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
You play the game and it, like, in the middle sometimes it sort of stagnates and you're like, oh, God, we're still doing this.
there's an awful lot of dancing around at a certain part of the game. At a certain part in that game, it becomes the dance of flying around in circles, trying to hit each other because either the dice have decided to shit on you right at that particular moment, or or it's a turning fest.
Good night, Nevinar.
Hey, good night. Thanks for coming, buddy. Sure appreciate you getting up at the middle of stupid o'clock in Sweden.
But yeah, I agree with you. Actually, it's now, in hindsight, years later, that I see that, and no one hoists me on this petard rail, that the Star Trek Attack Wing game that licensed the mechanics was actually better because it didn't have the defense mechanic to the same degree. So games
so is deadly.
end.
Yeah.
Yes. That's sort of what Armada does in a Starship format is there is not a lot of defense. Games predictably end, and 6 turns with objectives is different than you play till one side is dead with no objectives. It is. I mean, I love X-Wing. I love the concept of X-Wings. Usually when I play it, I have a great time for the majority of the game, but I just don't know. It's
what did Steamroller give War Machine?
Objectives.
Steamroller gave objectives and a realistic way to end the game.
Yes. Yeah, I just don't know if that. I don't know. I don't think the people playing X-Wing want that, which is fair, and it's okay. But it makes me think about games like Battlestar Galactica. And I'm not going to buy the Battlestar Galactica game. I might buy a Viper or two because they're cool. I mean, who doesn't like a Colonial Viper?
Right, exactly. So there's a miniature game coming out of Battlestar Galactica.
John, it's been out for a year and change.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, there's Menoth John, heartbeat of the gaming industry.
Yeah, it is.
Who makes
it? It looks very similar to X-Wing. It's different to a point, but same thing, models, same sort of scale models. So it's very cool. But
is it a
another game?
Flight? Is it a Fantasy Flight property?
No, I forget the name of the company that does it. I'll find out in a second. But yeah, I mean, I always come back to the point: do I need another game?
Yeah, right now the answer from that is no from me.
Yeah.
I am, however, speaking of miniatures and games I'm excited about, it's the new Kickstarter for the next Nemesis property.
Oh yeah, that ends in 2 days?
Yep.
1 day now?
No, today. It ends today.
Today? I'll have to double check before I go to bed. The Battlestar Galactica Starship Battles is Ares Games, who I've never heard of.
Never heard of them. No. So,
but it's a very good quality. Oh, they did Wings of Glory.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So what they were doing, but I mean, it looks very cool. But again, at a certain point, I don't need another game.
No. Actually, there's a board game I've got. I really want to play. It's called CO2 Second Chance or something like that. It's a game of environmentalism, and you play. You're trying to save the planet, and you're making renewable energy and things like that, and you have to give papers at scientific conferences, and it's really looks. I've got it. I really want to play it. I just need to get the family together and say, hey, we're going to play a game we've never played before. Bear with me and help me learn this because it looks like it could be kind of fun.
Huh.
CO2 Second Chance. It's the second edition of the game.
Yeah, each player manages an energy company that responds to government requests for new clean power plants. The goal of the players is to stop the increase of pollution while meeting the demand for sustainable energy.
Yep.
Huh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and the game is beautiful. The components are awesome, and I saw it on Sit Down and Shut Up, I think is where I saw it.
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty cool. It's priced. It's pretty standard board game price for size, so not bad at all.
Yeah, no, so if you're looking for a game where you're not killing things and things aren't killing you, that's a thing to think about.
Oh, Legionnaire says, I wish I get excited about Nemesis, but I still have Shadows of Brimstone to play. Shadows of Brimstone is super fun.
And enormous.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things why we don't end up playing Descent at all, it's because we just play Shadows of Brimstone instead. They have a lot of games that way, and I like games in that style. The Descent. What's the Star Wars one called? My brain stopped.
I don't know what the
There's
Star
a
Wars.
Star Wars one too that's just like Descent. Shadows of Brimstone. Blackstone Fortress is basic. Imperial Assault. Thank you, Legionnaires. Imperial Assault. Shadows of Brimstone, and then Blackstone Fortress is basically Descent for Games Workshop fans,
Yep, makes
and
sense.
it's super fun. Like honestly, it is a solid version of that game. Very thematic, very cool. There's a crude in it, so I can be like bark, 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 bark every time I want to play them because I always play the crude.
There you go.
It's super fun. There's a lot of board games out there. I've got still a couple I haven't played. Yeah. So one day, a box shows up and it's got games from the Robotech Kickstarter I'd completely forgotten I had backed.
Shut up.
It's Robotech. I'm going to back it because I love Robotech. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got this, and it's got uh, Crisis Point, I think, is the one. That's the Robotech Masters, the Middle Saga one, and myself and Miles Healy, Necromiles, played that when he was down. It was pretty fun.
Oh,
It's very
how's
simple.
how's Miles?
I haven't seen him in a while. He's hit or miss on YouTube or on YouTube on Facebook. So,
Yep.
which is too bad because I actually want to talk some BattleTech stuff with him because. And then there's another one, Force of Arms, is a smaller one. I really want to play some of these. I just gotta strap Baney onto a chair and be like, we're playing some damn board games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get the fact that sometimes a person wants to play video games, but sometimes when your buddy asks you to play some board games, then you should play some board games.
Well, it's hard because you can just counter with like, let's play some MechWarrior On. Which I'm like, oh, okay, I mean, sure.
This time I want to play board games.
Yeah. Though I do also want to say a little bit since we want to pimp the stuff we like. There is a company that is doing, let's say, third-party BattleTech miniatures.
Okay.
Strato Minis, which is stratominis.com.
Okay.
And they change them up just enough so they're not infringing on licenses, but
Okay.
they are obviously the obviously BattleTech mechs.
Got it.
They're not bad. I mean, they're about, let's say, between $10 and $15 each,
That's not bad.
and they got a ton of them. That would be, if you're on their website, you want to look at the Hardbots Retro, and make sure you're looking under 6mm, because they also have 15mm versions of a couple BattleTech mechs. Now, the standard BattleTech mechs are 6mm, so you can imagine something that's 2.5 times
big.
how big that is.
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
And they have a Phoenix Hawk, which they call a Firebird. And then, if I remember correctly, they also have the Warhammer and the Marauder and the Locust. The Locust they call the Cricket. The Warhammer they call the Kriegshammer, which, I mean, fits. And then the Bull Shark, which is the Marauder. And they're about $30 to $40 each, but man, they look really cool, and I am tempted to buy one just to fucking paint it.
There you go. Well, I mean, that's a good. That's kind of what when you passed along the Gator. I mean, that's the attraction for me on that model is it's super sweet and to look at, and it'd be fun to paint.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about it now. They do everything in in millimeters, so it's about 110 millimeters high.
Wow.
So it's about 4.5 inches or so. So that's pretty cool. And I would love to play BattleTech miniatures game in that scale. Oh, that'd be super cool. I don't imagine you could. The table would have to be ginormous.
Oh yeah, it would absolutely have to be.
But at the end of the day, it's only $30. So I mean, it's cheaper than a GW Dreadnought.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's such a classic design. Oh, yeah, I definitely looking at a couple of those mech because they look super cool. Even like the Locust looks super cool in 15 millimeters, and that's generally a tiny mech that you want to punt kick. But I just like what they've done with it. They do their own game too, which is the Hard Bots. They have a game. I haven't looked at it at all, but man, they make some good models. So I mean, there's a ton of stuff out there. Check out some of these companies that are doing stuff.
Cool. Good suggestion, buddy.
All right, let's see. Terraforming Mars, big box on Kickstarter, and I love me some Terraforming Mars. I've never played Terraforming Mars. I would love to. We'd have to get some guys together for that, and girls.
Yep, some folks.
Mm-hmm. We did it occasionally when we weren't doing. We decided we didn't want to, or we're missing people for the Adventures of Sewer Bear. We'd play some board games with the crew.
I've heard a lot about Terraforming Mars. I've just never played it.
Yeah, me either. But I mean, I'd love to. I did skip the last version of Star Realms that came out because it was like, here's all foil versions of cards. I'm like, that's cool and all, but I have like all the cards. I do not need all the cards, but in foil.
See, I did back that Star Realms Kickstarter because I had only the base set ever.
Oh, that's the perfect time to do it.
Yep. So I decided, boom, I'm gonna do this.
John, the most recent one where they give you the commanders who are dual faction and they have their starting deck that's specific to them and different hand sizes and different healths. God, it is so much. It's like next level Star Realms fun.
Cool. I look forward to it. I've always enjoyed playing the Star Realms card game. I played the app a lot.
I've stopped playing the app so much, but I do enjoy it here or there. Just be careful because the app fucking cheats.
It cheats?
Oh, God, yeah.
In what respect?
It does not understand mathematical probabilities.
Okay.
As computers don't. Because I guarantee you, if you have a 20-card deck and the same two cards keep coming up in the same 5-card hand again and again and again, you're going to be like, all right, I'm shuffling that for you because obviously you can't do it. Something's happening. They're getting stuck together. Let's work on this.
Fair enough.
It's not like a big deal, but I've noticed that the probability has become, and sometimes it works in your favor. But even then, I'm like, I got these two cards again. They're the only two in this color. All right, guess you're sucking it this time, computer.
If Keyforge has taught me one thing, it's the cards never come up when you need them to.
Oh no, but it's always weird. I mean, as someone who actually looks a little bit at probability statistics, I'm like, that's one time, sure. 2 times, 3 times in a row, what the fuck? Such because you're adding cards every go round. Like these probabilities are getting lower and lower, dude. So.
Oh my God, there's so much detail on this model. I'm never going to finish it.
You're going to finish this. John, you painted an entire Bullwinkle from start to finish with a brush and no airbrush. You got this.
Okay, that's true. There is that.
Say shit.
Yeah, that did happen on the show a few years back.
You've leveled up. You're at epic levels by now, man. You were just, back in the original tier then. Now you tiered up to epic levels. You're looking at your fucking prestige class and shit now.
But then there's Kathy Wapple.
I mean, Kathy's a hell of a painter.
Yep. Kathy's like a Gandalf level painter.
So she upgraded to Kathy the White.
There you go. She's
maybe?
Kathy the Pink, I think it'd be her though.
No, she was Kathy the Pink. Now she's Kathy the Plaid.
Very nice. Excellent. The girl can rock the pink, though.
Oh yeah. Oh. Well, I think I covered topics. We're good there, huh? Oh well, we've had successful podcast, and we ain't even done yet.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm thinking that the show doesn't need to be 90 minutes long. We can get into the movie thing here pretty soon too.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I don't usually like to talk about the same movie I talked about on my other podcast, but I feel like if I get anything at the extreme edges of the scale, I got to start talking about it on both because that's important.
I think that's fair. Here, tell you what, let me finish putting these the silver rings here on these barrels, and then we'll switch over the thing and we'll talk about other stuff. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint during the week this week, I think. I think that's got to kind of happen.
I need to take a look real quick. I realized I had not. I don't know where I put my notebook with my rating, so I'm going to talk a little bit on my ass. 'Cause I finished season 2 of the Clone Wars.
Oh, excellent.
Um, I'm pleased with that. I'm going to take about a week off or so, and then we'll come back later.
I think that's fair.
Um, just looking, trying to get an idea. Okay, of what episodes I watched since last time, so I can properly review them.
Okay, I am. We've only got a couple more of these little ring things. They go pretty fast.
Oh yeah, yeah. There is a ton of details, but this thing, that thing's gonna look super legit when it's done.
It should be. So what I was just noticing here while I was painting was that I'm making all of the little barrels the same color, and I'm
Mhm.
a little bit unsure how I'm gonna kind of wash them. I'm thinking about using the contrast paint on them,
Absolutely, that's
and
contrast paint over brown. Wow.
it's a light brown, so I think it's going to give a really interesting effect if I even use the same contrast paint that I used for the other wood colors.
Well,
So
even better is you could use different contrast paints on each one and make the different barrels look just a little bit different.
yeah, I think maybe I could use one contrast paint for the little barrels here that are underneath the platforms, and then I could use a different color one um, for the big barrel, and it would not be, I think, too jarring
No,
because
I
it's
think you'd even find if you painted them each of the smaller ones different colors, it wouldn't be too jarring because they're all still brown. So you have little different shades of brown. It'll look very troll bloody and very like they just grabbed some barrels and put it on there. They're just
yeah,
looking for alcohol.
yep. I think you're onto something there, buddy.
Because yeah, I've been using this dark oath flesh for a lot of my browns where I want something deeper, and it's been doing a good job for me.
Yep. I think I'm gonna finish there. I do have I have a couple different browns. I've got the Agros Dunes, which I was using on kind of the floorboards, and then
Mm-hmm.
I've got Snakebite Leather
Mm.
that I was going to use on some of the barrels. And
Snake Lap Feather is legit.
I'm gonna paint myself a little. I'm just gonna give myself a little tester here, and just to see what it's gonna look like eventually. So
Oh yeah.
let's do that real quick before we head to the movies, and we'll see how it turns out. And I think it's gonna turn out pretty good.
Oh yeah. I just love the way it does the staining plus the good into the crevices.
Yep.
It like I may not use it so much as a full paint, but as like a wash, they're so good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out.
Like I even used the yellow over some yellow I'd done, and it took it from that sort of brownish yellow to a very good yellow. I might even try it over like rucksack tan next or something like that and see what it looks like.
Yep. This was a this was a an airbrush paint that I painted on here because you don't have to really thin it then too much.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to go over it with this stuff, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good.
Label keeps coming off. Yeah, I got an airbrush, the U.S. Interior yellow I've been using as like the final, if you will, highlight on one of my yellows. And it's coming along. I keep going back and doing a little work on the Wolverine here because I got a little too much wash on it. I needed to clean up the yellow.
That's going to look really nice.
Yeah.
That's going to look really solid. Just need to kind of give it just a little bit extra love here in the cracks. Sometimes you got to love your cracks up a little bit.
I was trying not to go there.
Yep. No, you got to talk about it. You can't. There's no kink shaming on this podcast.
I mean, don't yuck on someone else's yum.
That's right, buddy. Because you might find something you enjoy. There you go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to finish this last little barrel here just to kind of get a little feel for it. We're certainly enthused about the outlook on that. and we'll get a little bit more on there just to kind of give it the business. We haven't given things the business maybe as much as we should be these days, and we're going to give the business on this one, I'll tell you what.
I don't know. I was given the business on Facebook last night.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, I was on a block, snooze, block, like no more.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that for your own
I'm
personal
done with your
sanity.
bullshit. Yeah, I understand some of these people. Like there's a guy I used to that was a customer at Games Workshop on the phone. He's a veteran. He had a bad accident. That's why he's not in the military anymore. He was Vietnam War era, and he's a good old coot, but he's been posting some stuff that's a little. I know he's not racist. I've talked to the man, but he doesn't get it. Like a lot of older people don't. A lot of those older guys just don't get it.
Yeah, and sometimes they don't even understand that when they think they're not being racist, because they are so not in tune with kind of where things are at, that it just comes off poorly.
To put it easily, if you want to get blocked on John's Facebook, mention about your Confederate heritage or Confederate pride. That's a block. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that.
At that point, sorry, you're racist.
Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring up the media section graphics because we're well known for our production values here on the page.
Oh, yeah.
And off John Wednesday night extravaganza.
We still got to watch the Velociraptor, the Velocipaster.
Yeah, I know we do. And, you know, we sort of figured out the technology, and then we kind of lost our way. I need to get on that Rich Brotman guy.
Yeah, we need to set it up with the proper advance notice so we can get everyone together and do it right.
That's right. We are going to still do that. All right, we're going to turn off the light here because I'm done painting. We get the screwball out here because I'm done painting. I think that turned out pretty good, John, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely coming along. I mean, I say this a lot because I have a lot of days where I spend a half an hour or more painting and it looks like I didn't do shit. But I'm like, you know what? Doesn't matter. Slow progress, still progress.
Yeah. You know, one thing I was kind of thinking about is the handrails that are on there. I need to look at some inspiration on some things that other people have painted. I don't know if I want to make them like a wood color, like a light wood, or if I want to go with metal. It seems like if I was having a war wagon like this kind of thing, like where it's, I might want that to be a metal type of thing.
Yeah, because then it'll block. Yeah, durability blocks some shots. You don't want people like wood getting splintered and them falling off the top suddenly. Ah!
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and Kathy, I would value your opinion on that as well. Do you think I should do those handrails as wood, or do you think they should be metal? Because I'm thinking metal. Now, I've gone to my usual copper, my deep copper, and the light metal. Maybe there's another color metal. I don't know I'm thinking maybe brass or something.
Brass look good. You could go with the tinny color, like the tin bits.
A little bit more of a darker kind of.
Yeah. Also, because the tin color really good because you can dry brush it in any of the other metals and make it look like some other color. And she's also saying brass rails, which could work too.
Yeah, brass rails is certainly a color, and I haven't done a lot of brass. Is now warp lock.
I did.
Tin bits is it, what color line is that? A Citadel color, by the way?
Citadel color. I don't actually use that. I use either Army Painter Tinny Tin or Decayed Metal from Scale 75 because Scale 75 Metallicas, John, you may have to buy them online, but they are legit as shit.
I like where Kathy's thinking on this with the brass. I would absolutely either take the contrast paint or I would take a lot of times what I do with my brasses and my golds is I'll use a Reichland Flesh Shade on it because it pulls it red, and I like the way that effect turns out.
Well, just since I've got paints here, I have this bottle here, which is unlabeled because this is my mix of Carlsberg Crimson and Agrax Earthshade. 50-50 for when I want that sort of reddish brown color.
Is Orgoth Bronze a new metallic from P3?
Probably.
They did launch some new metallics, some new colors here recently. Okay, yeah, okay. So, interesting.
Yeah, worth looking at. So, media section. Mm-hmm. I got two things to talk about since I'm going to talk about the end of Clone Wars Season 2.
Yeah, excellent.
Let's see. I don't remember exactly where we ended up. I know I talked about the beginning of the Mandalorian stuff, and I did enjoy that plot line. It was pretty good.
Yep.
The next one is it's called the Senate Murders. It was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't very. It was fine. It wasn't really good. It is what it is. We're basically someone's poisoned. They have to figure out who did it. It's not very surprising who did it because you can sort of see that shit a mile away. They leaned into some of the bad guys so much. You're like, yeah, you're leaning into this too much. I think I know where we're going.
Yeah.
You got to do it right. More on that later. Next one is Cat and Mouse, which was an interesting episode. As Anakin's got that stealth ship and they're flying.
Yeah.
That would have been a better 2-part episode, I think.
Okay.
I think you could have really gotten some more interest there. And then they had the homage, as if you needed an homage, to Akira Kurosawa called Bounty Hunters, which is basically the Seven Samurai, just with Star Wars. And I enjoyed that.
Yep.
It wasn't great, but I definitely enjoyed the crap out of it.
I find myself that I usually like Seven Samurai sort of homages. It's such a strong, basic plot.
Uh-huh. I mean, you think about it, you play D&D, you can start your party out with Seven Samurai, like as a plot, because it's great because it gives everyone gets to show off how good they are at least once, because that's sort of the plot of the beginning of Seven Samurai / Magnificent Seven / Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was solid. Then there's the Zillow Beast and the Zillow Beast Strikes Back, which kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
Actually, really would have liked these if they'd come before the episode where the Separatists reveal this tank with the impenetrable armor, because then you could have seen, something's going on here. They stole that. I'm sure they're going to steal it. They're cloning the beast. They mentioned at the end of it. I'm sure that's a plot point that they at least thought of if it doesn't show up later.
Sure.
And I think that would have been a better progression there. See these earlier, have that tank later. He's like, oh, wait a minute, we had that thing earlier. Does that match? And then the last trilogy is Boba Fett trying to kill Mace Windu for killing his father, Jango Fett. And while I like seeing bounty hunters and all, this is fucking terrible.
Okay.
The only way to make Boba Fett and his crew seem competent is to make all of the good guys seem incompetent as shit. Or just lucky.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a problem they have multiple times. That's why I don't like Cad Bane, because he never actually showed himself as competent. Everyone else had to become incompetent for him to shine.
Fair enough.
So, I'm going to give this season, I'd say, a fairly generous 2.5 shots of Kraken. It's pretty average for a kid's show.
Yeah.
They haven't quite embraced the adults yet, but I have this feeling that it's going to change here soon.
Yeah, it's getting better. You're about season 3, I think, is where it really hits its stride.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm certain. Like I've heard everyone said that, but those first 2 seasons are a little rough.
So
not horribly so, but just enough. Like, if you don't make it past season 1, I don't blame you. You should try to. It gets better in season 2, absolutely, but I don't blame you.
Yeah. Nope, I get it. So, my turn.
Hit me. Yep.
On this show, A Painting with Menoth John Wednesday Night Extravaganza, in case you'd forgotten what you were watching, I made the bold statement that Picard was best Star Trek of all time. I made that statement, John.
Mm-hmm.
I am here to tell you tonight that Discovery, if it is not the best Star Trek, it is the most fun Star Trek.
Season 2 is so good!
It is, without question, the best adventure that show has ever given us.
And people hate it. I don't understand it. I can't.
The only people that can possibly hate that show, are either racist, homophobes, or both.
I mean, okay, fair. The whole MAGA crowd's got to hate the entire season. It is.
Oh, it is gay as the day is long.
It's so diverse.
And that's great. I mean, it's such a compelling storyline.
It doesn't rub your face in it either. It's just these are who these people are.
It's just...
And every character is worth it. The minor ones they introduce.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean...
the engineer that they...
Oh, Jean Reno?
Yeah.
Jean Reno.
She's so good.
I can fix that with duct tape too.
She's dry. She's
She's
droll.
great.
She's droll. She's amazing.
It,
She's
and it's funny they bring out later that she's
just last second. Oh,
she's a lesbian, but it's not important.
Yeah.
It's just a factor of who she is. You're right. I agree with you. It is. Picard is great.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever lets say Picard is
Terrific.
zero shots crack and absolutely. Discovery season 1 I enjoyed. Discovery season 2 was fucking magical.
See, Discovery season 2 is the most fun I have ever had watching a Star Trek franchise. Period.
And let me ask: Did Pike overtake Captain Kirk for
Without
second best
question.
captain?
Without question.
Like-
He is, as far as I'm concerned, he walks in lockstep with Jean-Luc Picard.
Every time he says it, he says those things. You know, he's like, "We're Starfleet. Be bold, be brave, be courageous." You're like, there's no cheese in what he says. He says it so earnestly. You're like, bam.
You know that his character, when he says those words,
He
he
believes
means it to his soul. That he
proves what the admiral said earlier. Like, no, we need to make sure that if things went poorly in the Klingon War, you survived because you're the best of Starfleet.
Yeah. Pike is amazing. The choice he makes for the good of all. He sees what the future's going to be. He knows what he's choosing, and he still does it. And he has to remind himself, because it's so horrifying. He has to remind himself of what he believes in, and it's so good, folks.
Yeah,
it's worth subscribing to see. I still frickin' owe you my goddamn HBO pass.
And it's no worries, man. We're all good for now. Like the fact that you enjoyed it so much brings joy to my soul and makes that subscription worth it again.
Now, folks, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to get the CBS and you're going to watch this, the first thing you do before you go anywhere in season 2 is you watch Trek shorts or short treks.
Short treks.
You watch them.
Not all of them. Not all of them. There's one in particular you have to watch. The rest you can watch afterwards.
You need to watch the last one before you get to the end of season 2.
Yeah, I mentioned that as well because it if not, you're like, what?
Who?
I see what happened.
They introduce a pivotal character in short treks that shows up at the end of season 2 who is pivotal. And she's amazing. And
she is.
And I want her to be in all the treks going forward.
Every character is great. They don't. Whoever wrote the characters, like season 1, they didn't do enough with the secondary cast. Absolutely true. But even Lorca was an interesting character for what he was.
Yeah.
But they didn't do enough with all the extras. And then they bring in all the extras. And, man, Commander Arium, in a short time, you're like, man, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, I tell you, they finally you finally understand her, and then they rip. Well, fucking spoilers. Anyway, I finally figured. You know, the woman who was in the short trek. I finally figured out who she reminds me of. The original security officer, the Orville.
I haven't seen the Orville.
Oh my God. Okay, so John, when you have time, the Orville is the best Trek that's not Trek.
I mean, I think that's technically Galaxy Quest, but I know what you mean.
But yeah, I mean, it's the original. So there's a security officer on the Orville whose shtick is that she grew up in a high G planet, and so she's like super fucking strong. And but when you see, if you can watch any of the Orvilles, watch her and then go, oh yeah, that's the one from Discovery. I think she's a personality-wise, she's very similar.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of clips from the Orville. The problem is the clips I keep seeing are generally pure comedy ones, and I'm just like, this is kind of lame.
It's not. It has.
I've seen some other clips that are pretty solid, so I'm not gonna discount it above those, but I have put it down on my list because I'm like, I'm not so much the modern comedy guy. They don't know how to let a joke go anymore. They write it.
The Orville is like if Star Trek happened with today's sensibilities. You know, it's written as a early 21st century with a sensibility towards its comedy, but it takes place in the in a Star Trek world. So,
Mhm.
and that's an interesting juxtaposition because the before, with Star Trek back in the day, it was always quite dour and very serious, and everybody was like, on point and all that kind of stuff. And with humor, when it did occur, like Bones in the original Star Trek series, when it would occur, it was such a departure that you could do almost anything and it would be comedic. The Orville plays off the personality of its crew, and I think that what I liked about it was that juxtaposition of early 21st century comedy, but set in this future world. Like it's like nothing culturally moved forward,
Hmm.
and that's weird but fun, and I like it, and identifiable, and that's I think I identified with the members of the crew of the Orville better than I could identify with. I mean, the members of Star Trek are heroic. I mean, everyone in the Star Trek universe is a goddamn hero.
Yeah. I mean, it's so
Even
much that when someone acts normal, like Barclay and a little eccentric but normal, he's not like super brave or anything. You're like, oh, that guy's a coward. No, he's
yeah,
not a coward. He's just an average dude.
right. Everyone is so heroic, and they're not in the Orville. They're good people. They do heroic things sometimes, but they're feet of clay, and that's one of the things I like about it.
Well, so it's funny because I like the fact that everyone's heroic in Star Trek because it goes to the point that even in the future, these are the best of the best. They ain't like you don't send chumps into space.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's actually a book I read a while ago where like everyone was super competent and they sort of addressed it because it's like it's like future, like like a little bit after now. It's like near future, and it's like everyone's super competent and wears multiple hats because if you're doing space travel in the solar system, you're not sending fucking janitors out there.
Yeah.
You don't have Yaphet Kotto out there talking about his bonus and everything because you're not at that point. You're still sending the best of the best out there. It hasn't become commonplace.
Balespar makes a very insightful comment in the chat room. When you get past the candy shell of humor, there is some serious sci-fi going on in the Orville,
Good,
and
because
it's a goddamn good show. If you can, I don't know where it's being streamed right now, but it is. I've watched all the Orville, and it really grows. It really does. It's
well,
it's
let's
a
see where it's
wonderful
on
show.
because I only have a couple streaming services. We can do obviously Disney Plus, CBS, Amazon Prime, and Netflix.
Well, it's an NBC property, and I don't know where the fuck that streams.
Yeah, I don't know where that streams.
We'll have
Well,
to
we'll
find it.
take a look.
I could honestly rewatch that series.
I'll
I
be
really
honest. I'll
would.
put it on the list, but it's behind another sci-fi series. I'm
Oh,
probably going to watch in this week off, and that's of course The Expanse because I haven't seen the most recent season yet, and I have to.
oh, it's good. It's worth it. It's worth watching.
Oh, I'm
Um,
certain of it. I mean, they're great. But what I watched also this week that was exceptional in one way or another.
that's a segue, John. And
Thank you, sir.
we've been podcasting for years, but I still recognize a great segue when I see
And it's free on Amazon Prime right now.
one. Oh,
So there's a movie called Knives Out.
Knives Out.
Yes, and it's written by someone who doesn't necessarily have, he should have a better track record than he does, but there's some people who didn't like his second movie, which is called The Last Jedi.
Oh, okay.
So Ryan Johnson, his first one was, I think, a movie I reviewed on this podcast many moons ago, which is called Looper, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. It's sort of a sci-fi, time travel sort of tale. It was pretty solid. Just wasn't. I didn't think it was as great as everyone else, but there was nothing really wrong with it. And we'll talk about The Last Jedi in the future when I get to that movie again. Spoiler: I am much more positive towards than most, but this is sort of a modern whodunit. Knives Out, and it has an all-star cast. I mean, Christopher Plummer, Michael Shannon. It's got Don Johnson. I'm trying to remember names as we go here. It's got Daniel Craig.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's that. It's got, what's her name?
Rebecca Romijn.
Maybe. No. But she's actually in freaking...
Discovery.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
female lead in True Lies. Brain.
Oh, Jamie
Jamie
Lee
Lee
Curtis.
Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. It's just got a great cast, and it is. Yep,
Knives Out,
Kathy got it
you
right there.
say?
Yeah, it's got a great cast. I'm not gonna spoil. It is a modern whodunit. It is a little bit in the vein of like a Murder by Death or a Clue. It's
Yeah.
not quite as comedy as those, but it's in that sort of. Oh, Belsper mentions that apparently his third film was Last Jedi. Looper was his second. His first one was called Brick, which I think about now I have heard of and was supposed to be pretty good. But this is Knives Out is very very enjoyable. The plot twists back and forth, never confusingly. It lays out its Chekhov's guns, if you will, and then makes sure that they're all fired in the third act, but maybe not where and when and how you thought they would be.
Outstanding. I love me who done it, and if it's good, I might insist upon it this weekend.
I would suggest that it was very enjoyable, never dull. Like Bane and I were sitting there, like we're going back and forth, like maybe this happened, maybe this happened. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to. I need to see how it ends. Oh, it's also got Chris Evans in it. I almost forgot Chris Evans.
Oh, this is
Um,
wonderful. And Balespar, thank you. Thank you for coming and joining us. By the way, welcome to the Brushhead Nation. By the way,
yeah,
when we see somebody new in the chat room, we should give them the old salute here. So, Balespar, if you're unfamiliar with the show, 1,000 years ago when this thing started, uh, we actually before when I was on Lost Hemisphere Radio. We would salute with Ron because it was a drinking game at that point. But now it's just a salute of honor and welcome. So Balespar, on behalf of the co-host, the host, Mr. John Spencer, and myself, hey Ron.
Ron.
So
Yeah,
welcome.
Knives Out is great. I mean, obviously, I'm only bringing you the best this time. It is zero shots of Kraken.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Like I said, it's free on Amazon Prime. It's one of those that honestly I'd consider paying for.
Fantastic. No, this is wonderful news. Good stuff, man. I think that's a great media section we just had there, John. One of our best.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of
I
our
mean,
best.
at least we're talking about good stuff, not Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
Jesus Christ is right. Jesus. Anyway, Knives Out. We're gonna watch that. I think we'll probably watch that here on the Casa John thing here. You know,
Oh, we can talk about it next time too. Then that'll be super fun.
I don't even expect. I don't even plan to have the Painting with Menoth John blanket behind me the way it is right now, but it's perfect. That's the
Yeah,
kind of shit that happens when you've been podcasting as long as we have. Fucking
no
years,
doubt.
years and years. I was like 13 when we started this show. Now look at me, I'm a fucking grizzled old man.
Wait,
Anyway,
if you were 13, then I was 6.
well, I mean, you pooped your pants a couple of times. I was kidding. Anyway, so there you go, guys. Guys, a wise man once told me. No, he didn't. I'm just making this shit up right now. That a podcast should only last as long as it should.
Absolutely.
Not, but folks, I do want to recommend a channel to you. That if you want to watch a good YouTube channel, watch this one. It's called How to Drink.
Yeah.
We talked about it. How to Drink is an amazing channel. He's got great geek cred. He does D&D on his other channel, but he makes fantastic cocktails. And I'm going to share one recipe with you and everybody who's watching me right now. It's called a Jack Heart. Did you know, John? Did you know that before whiskey became as popular in the United States as it has become, that before that there was an alcohol called Applejack. And Applejack is a distilled spirit made from apples, oddly enough, and it is quite delicious. And it is still sold. It's fallen out of favor compared to whiskeys. There's a drink called a Jack Heart that is 2.5 shots of Applejack. It's an 80 proof distilled spirit, but it's nice if you drink it warm, room temperature. It's got a nice, for an 80 proof spirit, it's got a nice apple sort of flavor to it. It's good. It's not syrupy like a Crown Royal apple or a Jim Beam apple. It's not syrupy at all. It is fucking like whiskey, but it's actually technically a brandy. Okay. Anyway, so 2.5 shots of that. 3/4 of a shot of lemon juice. 1/2 a shot of grenadine syrup.
It's almost like I have that recipe written on my notepad.
Oh shit! You've heard of this before? Have I talked about it before?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm old. I don't remember things, but not everybody tunes in, and we got a new Bales bar. This one's for you, buddy.
Yeah.
You make one of those, fucking delicious, and it's the best way to drink 2.5 shots of Applejack in one fell swoop you'll ever. You shake it over ice, pour that shit out, you strain it. You can put it over ice if you want.
I'll be honest. His show is one of the reasons why I have an actual shaker and a bar spoon and all that stuff for when me and Banyan need to make some real drinks.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Not
getting
just
some.
pour some Barks and Kraken in the same cup and go.
I honestly believe. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of those some bottles that have little stoppers on them, and I'm gonna whip up some simple syrup, and I'm gonna whip up. I'm gonna get some bitters, and
There's another one on that vein called Cocktail Chemistry.
mm,
It's more. He was on Binging with Babish. He did a crossover with him, and he does some good ones on stuff. Like he shows you how to make your own Fireball whiskey, however you want it. It's like it's like his Marvel drinks episode. And since in the episode of Logan there was Fireball in the background, he's like, well, let's show you how to make Fireball whiskey from like scratch.
see,
Like any whiskey you want with the stuff to make it into sort of Fireball-y type whiskey, which is super cool.
I'm wondering if I could buy like a dozen atomic fireball candies and soak them in Everclear. If that would make basically a cinnamon vodka.
I choose life.
I have a
It's,
bottle of Everclear over there.
we all make life choices that are poor.
No, I mean no. It was bought for apocalypse reasons, for
Oh, fair.
as hand sanitizer.
Did
Uh,
did you see the episode where he tried all the different whiskeys, but one of them was actually Everclear watered down 50%?
no, I did not.
You should do that. How to Drink did the episode where he tries different whiskeys to see how the quality goes, and it's like he has to get a certain amount right, or bad things happen. And he doesn't realize he can just taste it and spit it out, so he's drinking it every time.
He's loaded like 75% of those shows.
Yeah, and it's great because one of them, instead of all the whiskeys, there's one of them is actually Everclear, but watered down 50%. To sort of be like, well, let's see if I can tell it from vodka when it's watered down 50%.
Yep.
I suggest watching that one. It's a hoot, and he is toasty, toasty, toasty by the end.
He's been doing a few of them that he's just been riggedy wrecked by the end of them.
Yeah, I think those are the ones where he does them in a chain and doesn't think about that he's sometimes trying 2 or 3 different alcoholic cocktails, and he likes them a lot, so he drinks a lot of them.
I've been enjoying his recent series about like 1918 drinks, where he's been doing things related to the last major pandemic that has really done what COVID has done,
Yes.
and things like the grasshopper and stuff like that. I need to find me some Tempest Fugit brand spirits and get
Time
some.
flies.
What's that?
Tempest Fugit, time flies.
Yeah, there are. It's a company that makes a number of historically correct spirits. So
Oh.
for like creme de menthe, it's clear. It's not green. They don't add green food coloring to it. It's made with the old.
Why do people
school
think mint
recipe.
is green? Because aren't like minty stuff in candies now white? Why do people? I don't know.
Man. I mean, the mint plant is green, but that's
Fair.
because of fucking chlorophyll, bitches. It has nothing to do with the goddamn flavor.
Hashtag science.
Hesh, it's like shit grows, you know. It's like fucking changing light into sugar. How the fuck do magnets work? Even, you know, it's just.
John, I never took you for a juggalo.
Oh, I do love me some ICP occasionally. But however, if you're looking for some hip hop that with a conscience, fucking
Chlorophyll
run the
boy.
Jewels 4 is as good an album as you're ever going to want to listen to.
They were advertised recently, and I was like, "Oh, Run the Jewels! I know those guys."
Yeah,
They're
Run the Jewels
pretty cool.
4 is a solid fucking album. It's as solid as anything that Rage has done over the years.
I'm listening to a lot more lighter stuff, trying to keep it happy. But I think my current favorite song is "Live to Die" by Volbeat, because it doesn't sound very Volbeat.
Cool.
If you know Volbeat.
I don't know Volbeat because that sounds like something. It's like hitting a small
They're obviously a European band, but the lead singer has got a particular sound to his voice. But in this one, he's doing a little different things, and he's got the lead singer from Clutch on it as well.
Oh, cool. They're
And
Canadian.
there's a good section in the middle with piano and saxophone that is legit. I suggest looking that particular song up. "Live to Die" by Volbeat. I mean, look up Clutch while you're at it too. They did a cover of "Fortunate Son" that is.
Oh
Well,
yeah. Clutch's version of Fortunate Son is best version of Fortunate Son.
yeah, I like Clutch a lot. They are very geeky and weird, eccentric
They're cool.
band.
They're cool. I discovered Clutch because of Ash Barker from
Oh.
Gorilla Miniatures. Ash is a sweet guy. I like Ash a lot.
I actually discovered them. They were on the soundtrack to Escape from LA, but it sounds nothing like their current music.
Fair.
It's weird, but they're
All
very
right,
weird. I like them. We're rambling about music. We could ramble on music for hours and hours, but we won't.
No, we're not going to tonight. I think I'm probably going to go sit out on my porch for a while. It's nice outside. It's 75 degrees out, and
It's about to storm like a mofo here. I am
shit.
probably gonna play some MechWarrior Online. Oh, the shock and all.
All right, guys.
Ah.
Well, folks, this is about the time that we usually put the music on, so I'm going to do that right now. There it is.
Press button, Frank.
Press the button, Frank. Oh, Frank, press the button. All right, folks, that's another Painting with Menoff John. And I'm Menoff John, and that's John Spencer. Together, we are Painting with Menoff John.
I hope you enjoyed this as much as we do.
Yeah, shit, yeah. We'll probably be back next Wednesday. Kathy, thanks for coming.
Yeah, on time even. That's amazing.
Bailspar, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
We had a solid 7 or 8 people.
Legionnaires. Devendar's not listening anymore,
Yeah.
but thank you. Respect.
Thanks
And
to everybody
Crimson.
that came. Even if,
Thanks for all the cool
folks,
Slacks and everything.
folks, if you come and you're watching the show, comment so that we know you're here. Because we love
I mean,
you.
the monitor review shows that a Tin Man XL was in for a while, but I hadn't hear him pop anything, so he's not anymore. But
Man,
hopefully he hadn't enjoyed the time he was here.
Well, Tin Man, I guess he had a root canal today.
Yeah, he had a root canal today.
Yeah, so Tin Man, I hope you're feeling good. Hope you're doing awesome. On behalf of Mr. John Spencer, I am, of course, Menoff John. We'll probably be back here next Wednesday unless there's some fucking life shit going on. But until then, have a wonderful evening and good night, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night.
Good night. The word of the day is root canal.
That's 2 words.
God damn it.